and welcome everyone here to sunny and beautiful Echo Park. I'm Renee Webster Hawkins, Executive Director of the California Pollution Control Financing Authority, which is chaired by the State Treasurer. CPCFA is a small but mighty state agency that collaborates with other public agencies and the private sector to finance infrastructure and other projects that benefit the environment and improve the health of our communities and mitigate climate change. Many of you may know us for the tax-exempt bonds we issue in the waste management industry or our CalCAP small business lending programs for small businesses. In 2009, CPCFA and the California Air Resources Board began an enduring partnership to improve California's air quality. Funded by CARB's Air Quality Improvement Plan funding, CPCFA has administered the On-Road Heavy-Duty Vehicle Loan Program, which creates a pathway for independent owner-operators of semi-trucks like these to upgrade to the cleanest technology aligned with CARB's engine emission rules. And the magic of this program is that we partner with participating financial institutions by incentivizing them to make private lending more available to the truckers that might not otherwise qualify. So today, as we gather here, I'm happy to introduce Treasurer John Chung, who has been a robust leader in advancing climate investments and green bonds here in California. Welcome, Treasurer Chung.
Good morning, and thank you all for coming. Thank you, Renee, for those kind words of introduction and helping run this fantastic program. And thank you to all those present here today for joining us for this exciting announcement. Behind me, just a stone's throw away, is the Hollywood Freeway, which is usually inundated with bumper-to-bumper traffic. High traffic transportation corridors like this one spew clouds of pollution into the air. And for economically disadvantaged communities of color that are situated along these roads, the amount of pollution in the air is even greater. The result is an even higher incidence of lung and respiratory disease and other ailments within these communities. But I have good news for all Californians living near freeways and for all the children who play in parks that border these freeways, just like the one we're standing here today in Echo Park. Thanks to the On-Road Heavy-Duty Vehicle Air Quality Loan Program, I am proud to announce that we have now approved more than 20,000 loans to retrofit and replace more than 21,000 trucks like the one here. Thank you, Senator. And these cleaner trucks are now removing the equivalent of more than 3 million cars from our roads each year, as well as 98 tons of pollution from our air each year. There's another truck. To date, this program, which is funded by the California Air Resources Board, thank you, Hector, and administered by my California Pollution Control Financing Authority, has supported the purchase of 20,547 trucks and retrofitted an additional 620. The trucks are 90% cleaner than their older counterparts and emit less pollution. Years of extensive research, including studies conducted by CARB, have linked exposure to particulate air pollution and various gaseous pollutants to heart and lung disease. Children especially are at risk from exposure to traffic pollution, and studies have found that those with the highest risk of asthma live near roads and high levels of nearby traffic. The announcement of the success of this program goes hand in hand with the Green Bond Pledge, which I recently signed on behalf of our great state of California to use green financing when repairing or funding new infrastructure projects, as well as Governor Brown's recent commitment to ensure that California is 100% carbon-free energy by the year 2045. What we are doing through this program by replacing and retrofitting trucks is supporting a larger vision for California. The truck behind me and the thousands of others we have put on our roads represent many things. It means the strengthening and modernizing of small businesses. It means that items lining your local grocery or big box stores are being shipped via greener trucks. It means that the health of our children and seniors are more protected against exposure to noxious particulate matter in the air. And it means that we, as a state, continue our march to not only meet but greatly surpass the minimum clean air standards established by the federal government. Despite the ludicrous and harmful effects by the Trump administration to turn back the clock and bring back the darker days of threats from pollution, California is leading the way to clean our air and make it easier for all of us to breathe. Today, with the real and present threat of climate change, it requires all of us coming together to make a difference. So I want to thank CPCFA, CARB, and Board Member Delatorre, State Senator De Leon, Assemblymember Carrillo, Councilmember O'Farrell, our environmental justice partners such as the Los Angeles Regional Collaborative, Climate Action and Sustainability, and our small business partners at Crossroads Equipment, Lease and Finance, whose firm also provided the truck that we see here today. I also want to thank LA Supervisor Hilda Solis, who has her representative Fernando Delgado here today, and finally, Melissa Stratton, Principal of Logan Academy of Global Ecology. It is for her students that we do this. Let's not forget, it's their future we are working on hard to protect and improve. Thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Chung, for your leadership and for convening us all here today. I'd also like to acknowledge a couple of other special guests who have joined us here today, who make the work at CPCFA happen in the community. Sharon Evans of the Business Resource Group, and also Byron Reed from the community, the CIT One West Bank. He's the Community Development Manager. Thank you very much. So next, I'd like to extend a hearty welcome to our California Air Resources Board Member, Hector De La Torre.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's funny, while we've been here, I've seen a couple of trucks that have gone by that are smoking. And we've got some of our staff here. I want to make sure we're jotting down some license plates on those. Thank you for being here to acknowledge the great milestone of over 20,000 trucks and celebrate the efforts of those that made today possible through the Truck Loan Assistance Program. Over the past 9 years, the Air Resources Board has contributed more than $100 million into this program. This funding leveraged over $1.2 billion in financing for small business truckers. The emissions reductions from these cleaner trucks are a crucial part of our state's effort to meet air quality standards. That's why we're doing it. And that means cleaner air for all Californians, especially those who live close to or even right beside freeways. The State Treasurer Chung mentioned that obviously the impacts on asthma, but over 70% of the carcinogenic effect of air pollution comes from diesel. We have to do more to reduce diesel emissions in our communities. This program directly addresses that problem, helping those who are disproportionately affected by air pollution, including many parts of Southern California, from the ports to the freeways to the rail yards to the neighborhoods. This is an effort to clean up all of those communities through the Sustainable Freight Strategy. That is our master plan for goods movement. It's designed to clean up every aspect of how we move freight from the ports to homes and businesses throughout the state. The cleaner trucks this program delivers translate into less pollution as industry keeps moving the goods we all use. For many small businesses that own trucks, the Truck Loan Assistance Program may be the key to driving in trucks that meet state standards. We extended those standards a couple of years back, but that extension is about to run out. They need to be in compliance. And this is very timely, as I mentioned, because enforcement is ratcheting up. Starting in 2020, the DMV will be checking to make sure that businesses are complying with the state truck and bus rule. That's we have a lot of CARB staff here, Anne Marie is here, and her team that will be implementing this. We will be enforcing this starting in 2020. If not, they could receive a registration hold. That is not a good thing if you're running your business on a day-to-day basis. I know this loan program will help thousands more small fleet and truck owners to meet the requirement. On behalf of the Air Resources Board, I'd like to thank John Chung for partnering with us to make this program work, and his enthusiasm and ingenuity and helping to keep our economy growing stronger and cleaner. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Board Member Delatorre. I will say that the enforcement efforts have definitely increased demand for this program. When it first started in 2009, we enrolled about 500 loans the first year. This year we've enrolled over 4,000. So the trajectory is strong. Our next speaker that we are thrilled to have celebrate this milestone with is our California State Senator for the 24th District and Senate President Pro Tem Emeritus Kevin De Leon.
Thank you so very much, Renee. How are we feeling today? I said, how are we feeling today? Listen, this is a great day. This is a beautiful day in Los Angeles. And I want to thank you very much, Renee, for your introduction to our good treasurer, John Chung. Thank you very much for your leadership. To my good friend, Hector De La Torre, thank you very much for your leadership on CARB. You're one of the very few, and now we have a little more, but I think you were the first person of color in quite a while on CARB. So that shows you that we're remaking CARB to be reflective of our society here in the great state of California. To my good friend, our council member here, Mitch O'Farrell, I want to thank you very much for your leadership as well, and for standing up for our constituents. To my very good friend, Wendy Carrillo. We are actually in the district that both Wendy and I represent. And the district that we represent is, this area is crisscrossed by 7 major freeways that serve as a hydra-headed serpent that chokes the air, the oxygen out of a young girl's lungs. Both Wendy and I have a district where we have elementary schools, whole apartment buildings, or a park, just like the park we're in today, that are adjacent to major freeways. All that carbon dioxide, greenhouse gas, CO2 emissions that is atmospheric, that contribute greatly to climate change, all the criteria pollutants, that ugly smog that we see every day. That's what our children breathe into their lungs. And that is the #1 reason for absenteeism in our public schools, is asthma. And if you take a immigrant mother, let's say a single immigrant mother who has to lose a day of work because she has to take her daughter to the emergency room and spend the whole day there because her daughter has an asthma attack, well, guess what? She runs a risk of not making her rent for that month, especially if she's being paid by cash. That's why the issue of climate change, that's why the issue of harmful, toxic pollutants that our children breathe into their lungs every single day is a human rights issue. It's a civil rights issue, because the environment doesn't begin and end at the beach or on the coast, but it begins with all human beings, regardless of who you are, and regardless of the hue of your skin, and yes, regardless of your legal status. Now, we're doing incredible things in California. We are not the nation's leader, we are the world leader when it comes to the existential threat that is before us, that affects our way of life, humanity, and our planet. That is the issue of climate change. And as John just mentioned, we are putting California on a pathway to 100% clean energy, decarbonizing our grid. So making sure each time we turn our lights on and off, it is driven by clean, renewable energy. But we got a lot of work to do with regards to tailpipe emissions, because when we look at the Hollywood freeway next to us, it is the tailpipe emitters that account for roughly about 40% of all our greenhouse gas emissions. Those are folks like you and I who drive internal combustion cars, or also to goods movement out of ports of LA as well as Long Beach that account for so much cancer corridors right here in Los Angeles on the 710 freeway, as well as the ports of LA and Long Beach. So this is an incredible opportunity to move these dollars out of state government and into the streets, to make sure we can retrofit we can upgrade or replace altogether these belching machines of smog. And that's why these initiatives are so important. That's why CARB plays such a huge, huge role in California. That's why the legislative body that comes up with these ideas and moves these dollars are so critical. That's why John Chung's role in creating the innovative products that can provide these low-cost interest loans to the folks who, quite frankly, don't have the financial wherewithal. They don't have the FICO scores to secure the necessary capital to do the upgrading. That's why this is so critical. And that's why young leaders such as Wendy Carrillo, who's going to play such a huge role in Sacramento, making sure we keep the fire to the feet of the polluters and making sure that all of our children can breathe clean air. That's why I'm so excited about Wendy Carrillo. Lastly, let me say this. Yo nomás quisiera compartir lo siguiente. Todos nuestros hijos merecen respirar aire limpio y puro. No importa su estado legal. Todos somos seres humanos que merecemos dignidad y respeto. Nosotros somos los líderes a nivel nacional e internacional del ámbito del cambio climático, también en materia del medio ambiente, energías eficientes, igual como energías renovables y limpias aquí en el estado de California. Estamos haciendo todo lo posible para canalizar el poder del sol y también el viento, eólica, para generar empleos concretos y fijos aquí en el estado de California. Somos hoy día la quinta potencia mundial, pero al final de cuentas, nuestros hijos en las zonas más humildes a lo largo y ancho del estado de California merecen respirar aire puro y limpio. Es un derecho fundamental porque todos somos seres humanos y merecemos dignidad y respeto. With that, I want to say thank you very much to each and every one of you. Let's have a wonderful day. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
And without further ado, the Assembly Member from the 51st District is Wendy Carrillo.
Good morning, everyone. Buenos días. My name is Wendy Carrillo, and I want to thank you all for being here and welcome you to the 51st Assembly District. This is especially poignant to me for many things. Many of the remarks that Senator De Leon just made are actually about my family. My parents celebrated their 30th anniversary by taking a stroll around Echo Park Lake when it reopened recently. I grew up in the 51st District, in the district that I represent, and in fact spent many times here at this very park when this park was not as clean as it is today. In fact, there were needles and other items in the kids' playground. And this freeway was here. And the young girls that you talked about, Senator, that had asthma was actually one of my younger sisters, who is now becoming a social worker to help the very vulnerable people that we hope to represent and hope to help. But that's the reality when you live in communities that have often been disenfranchised and forgotten and haven't had the resources or the champions needed to make sure that we are moving everyone forward. And so for me, this is especially important because now, having had that lived experience, knowing that my parents were able to reach their own American dream by being able to become homeowners in Boyle Heights and City Terrace in East LA, but because of that didn't have much resources for anything else, what we did for fun was go to the parks in our great city. And so we would go to Echo Park, Lincoln Heights, Herman, Highland Park, Eagle Rock, Lincoln Heights, all within the 51st and beyond the city of Los Angeles. And we were often faced with this. And so I think about my younger sister who had severe asthma growing up and who we almost lost because of that. And I think about all the children across our district, our city, our state, and the nation that have been impacted by pollution. And to be here now and to know that there have been people ahead of me and will continue to do this work that care about our communities is a step in the right direction. And it is where we should be focused. So thank you all for being here, and a special thank you to Treasurer Chung and our representatives in the LA Regional Collaborative for Climate Action and Sustainability, Crossroads, and the California Air Resource Board for your environmental stewardship. We're here to celebrate 20,000 truck loans made possible through the Treasurer's successful California Capital Access Program. 20,000 diesel trucks have been retrofitted or replaced with greener and cleaner technology. I think about the workers. I think about the people that drive these trucks. that have families to feed, that we can't think about jobs without thinking about the future and climate change and how do we create greener technologies and make it possible for people to be able to afford to continue to do their work. That's what I think about when we think about how do we include working class families across our district, our city, and our state as we move toward an agenda that's about a cleaner California and setting the tone for the rest of the nation. For far too long, our city has been shrouded by toxic fumes emitted by diesel trucks on the freeways, just like here. We have the 2, the 5, the 101, the 110, the 134, the 60, the 405. It's a lot. It's a lot of freeways, and none of us want to be on them. But people need to do their work. So how do we help them make sure that they're moving in a progressive way? And so I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to join all of you and continue the work. I'm going to miss you, Senator. I hope that you weren't leaving the legislature, but we still have a lot of work to do, and I'm so proud to have been able to work with you and learn from you to make sure that SB 100 was successful, and how we're going to continue to implement that across the state so that we don't have carbon monoxide and nitrogen oxide and sulfur dioxide and hydrocarbons polluting our air. I haven't said all those things since I think I was in science class in high school or college. But there's a lot of work to be done, and I'm so grateful to have all our partners here and to make sure that the City of Los Angeles continues to work with the state legislature so that we move California forward. So thank you all for being here. Unas poquitas palabras en español. Yo represento este distrito, crecí en este distrito. Me recuerdo cuando este parque no era tan limpio de como lo vemos ahora. Mis padres tuvieron la oportunidad de recibir y poder trabajar para el sueño americano siendo compradores de casa en las comunidades de Boyle Heights y City Terrace. Pero desafortunadamente no teníamos mucho dinero y los parques eran algo importante para nuestra familia porque era como podíamos disfrutar. Pero desafortunadamente un parque como este también está rodeado por freeways que desafortunadamente por ya varias décadas han emitido cosas en el aire que afectan a nuestros niños y a nuestra comunidad. Mi hermana, como el senador estaba diciendo en sus comentarios, de niña ella sufrió de un tipo de asma que desafortunadamente pues casi la perdimos. Y ahora ella tiene una vida alegre, ella va a ser una trabajadora social para poder ayudar a estas mismas comunidades. Pero me pongo a pensar del aire de que ella respiró y por qué a ella le afectó de la manera que le afectó. Y afortunadamente pudo sobrevivir y ahora está bien, pero pienso en todos los demás niños de estas comunidades que todavía siguen respirando ese tipo de aire y qué es lo que podemos hacer. Así que paso a paso en los trabajos, en trocas como estas, para poder avanzar lo que la ciudad y el Estado está haciendo a través de la nación. Es un paso importante, un paso necesario y también un paso que va a impactar a nuestras comunidades. Así que muchas gracias por estar aquí y por el gran apoyo. Gracias.
And next we have Mr. Mitchell Farrell, the local city council member for Los Angeles.
Thank you so much, Renee. Good morning, everyone. And I want to start by thanking Adrian, who is standing right back there, the director of this facility, Recreation and Parks. Thank you, Adrian. No one knows more on a day-to-day basis than the staff here at Echo Park Recreation Center on the impacts that this freeway has on this park facility and this community. You know, in the 13th district, by my own calculations, you can't live beyond 2 miles from a freeway. We've got the 2, I'm within 2 blocks of the 2 freeway myself where I live. We've got the 101 and we've got the 5 that literally travel through the 13th. We're adjacent to the 134 and the 110. So this clean air initiative, which is having such positive results, is directly impacting the constituents that I am so honored to serve. I want to thank Treasurer John Chung, and I want to thank California Resources Board leader, Mr. De La Torre, and I want to thank our Senate Pro Tem leader, Kevin De Leon, who is leaving an incredible legacy of environmental policy that for generations is going to make our families healthier. That is an incredible legacy, as you head into your new adventures. So thank you so much. And Wendy Carrillo, another and a newer great leader. You just heard her passion and her heartfelt remarks. We know that we have the A-team here, and we're pulling the rope in that same direction. And here's the beauty about California. We are the example about how to work together at every level, the most local level, the county level, the state level. And we have this sort of cone of protection for those that we are honored to represent. And when there's such profound dysfunction in Washington, D.C., with our current administration and commander-in-chief, and we're constantly under assault, we're standing so strong that they really can't get in, you know? And that's how we have to be, because we know what's at stake. We're a state that believes in climate change and science, and it's really bizarre that we actually have to draw that distinction. So we actually need to really stand up at all times on that. Now, in this very park, we're about to build a skate park. It's funded. It's going to go in next year in 2019. We've been wanting to do this for the better part of 15 years. And so to think that because of this improvement and these wonderful 90% reduced pollution trucks, that means that the current generations using this park, we've got the play area here, we're going to have a skate park. That means that these kids, who have really no other choice than to come here and utilize this wonderful facility, are going to have cleaner air to breathe. And that's what this is all about. We have parks and schools and public facilities lining the freeways in the 13th district. And we don't really have much of a choice. It's not like we can relocate all of the parks a safer distance from the freeways, because that we just don't have the resources to accomplish that. But what we can do is effectuate policy that cleans the air. And that, to me, is what this is all about. So I couldn't be happier to be here and publicly thank these leaders for all that they have done for a more sustainable, cleaner fleet that are now traversing California's highways. And my father was a truck driver. And back in the 1970s, he would have looked at this truck, and he was a very old-fashioned guy. He might have groused about, you know, it being environmentally friendly and all that stuff, but it was the 70s. He would have been bowled over by this beauty. So I think it'll also be a source of pride for these operators who are providing for their families. So I kind of have my father's memory in mind when I see this beautiful new truck. Congratulations and thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember O'Farrell. I mentioned that this program is successful because of the public-private partnership between the state and private lending institutions, and I want to underscore that. This program would not work if we didn't have the robust participation of private lenders willing to invest their private capital in our small business lenders and truckers. In fact, for every $1 that ARB has invested in this program, we leverage 18 private dollars into these upgraded technologies. Representing the lending industry, we have with us the Senior Account Executive from Crossroads Equipment, Finance, and Lease, which has been one of our major lenders since the inception of the program, Brett Weeks.
Thank you very much. Good morning. I'm incredibly happy to be here to represent Crossroads Equipment, Lease, and Finance at this important milestone event. Crossroads has been an active partner with both CalCAP and CARB for almost 10 years now, working to help independent drivers in our trucking industry stay compliant with California's clean air standards while keeping goods moving in and out of our economy. Due to the financial assistance from CARB and CalCAP, Crossroads has been able to invest over $300 million in private equity into our trucking industry, which has translated into nearly 5,000 truckers being able to upgrade their diesel engines into cleaner diesel or CNG models like we see here today. We couldn't have made such a deep impact with these small independent fleets without the help of this financing program. This program truly is the kind of public and private partnership where our government has stepped up and given a needed boost to an important economic engine in our state, all without over-regulating or creating cumbersome procedures. It's typically a necessity for these owners of these small fleets to be very thrifty individuals, and they tend to make their equipment last for years and sometimes even decades. They typically don't have the necessary extra capital that it requires to upgrade their equipment into these newer technologies. They often wait until their truck is so old, and oftentimes it is quite literally beyond repair. This program makes it possible for a private lender like us to support these owner-operators in making the environmentally important decision to upgrade their fleet now, as they continue to contribute to the movement of goods throughout our economy that desperately needs a truck, and also in a much cleaner one to drive. On top of that, these trucks are much more reliable than the trucks that they're used to driving. Oftentimes, these guys are using baling wire to try and figure out how to keep their trucks on the road, just because they simply don't have the capital to get up to speed with these new ones. So it's been such a great advantage for them to be able to get into this capital access program to upgrade their fleet, be able to stay on the road because they have to. We would have loved to have had one of the 4,700 CalCAP enrollees that we've enrolled here with us today, but they really are one of the tentpoles of our economy, and they have to be working every single day, and they're out there making sure that our goods that we need, the food in the grocery stores, the clothes that we're out purchasing, are getting from point A to point B. They're getting from the ports to the stores and everything. We have a CalCAP guru at Crossroads, and he always likes to say, if you bought it, a truck brought it. A lot of times people don't think about that when they're out, purchasing stuff. They don't realize how it got there and what that environmental impact is, which is why this has been so important. Thanks to the leadership at CARB and the Treasurer's Office, CalCAP makes it possible for Crossroads and other participating lenders to put private capital to work for California's trucking economy and keep our air clean and also our neighborhoods healthier. Thank you.
Thank you, Brett. And last, but certainly not least, we have the Executive Director of the Los Angeles Regional Collaborative for Climate Action and Sustainability, Ms. Laurel Hutt.
Good morning, everyone. So I'm here from the Los Angeles Regional Collaborative, LARC, which is a network of local climate and sustainability leaders that's advancing a healthy and resilient Los Angeles. So this means clean air for all Angelinos, especially frontline communities who will feel the impacts of climate change first and hardest. LARC is one of 7 climate collaboratives representing over 90% of the state's population, working closely to reduce emissions and shape a climate resilient future. We developed the region's climate action framework and are now involved in the county's first ever sustainability plan. One of our goals with the plan is to work with our communities, to ask them what they want and what they need, and to move forward together, not just to plan for them. With the support of many major institutions in the Los Angeles region, including LADWP, SCAG, the county, UCLA, and many others, we're able to accomplish this. We are extremely proud of the work that Treasurer Chung and the Air Resources Board are doing through the California Capital Access Program. I'm honored to be here with leaders from around the state and within the community to celebrate today's announcement. Thank you.
I'd like to thank all of you for coming to celebrate this milestone for clean air and better health in our disadvantaged communities. I'd like to acknowledge that the staff of CARB and CPCFA are here today, so for anyone who has questions about the nuts and bolts of the program, please don't be shy. We'd love to teach you more about the program and get you involved if you'd like to participate. So please seek us out, and we'll be happy to answer those questions. So thank you all, and thank you, Treasurer, for your leadership so that we can celebrate this day.